the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would just like to take a quick moment of silence just to recognize the life of Mr. Jim Holland, who many of you knew and who contributed so much to this board. So if you'd like to join me in that moment of silence now. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's an audible. I would like to say happy belated birthday to Mr. Davis, the 250th birthday of the U.S. Marine Corps.
Made his day.
Yes.
He looks good for 250.
Right. I'll say, my husband's in the Navy, so that's saying a lot.
We appreciate the ride. You started it.
I know. No, I asked for it. We're all friends here. Ms. Cruz, would you like to do the roll call?
Sure. Town of Ashland, Mr. Chambers.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor Trevette.
Yeah.
Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Just in case I have to.
Mr. Adkins. He's virtual.
Yeah. Looks like we're gonna change.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
I'm here.
Mr. Davy. Mr. Engel.
Present.
Mr. Miller.
He's on his way, but until then, Mr. Carroll's gonna carry his vote until he's here.
Okay. Mr. Petrowski.
Present.
Ms. Schneider.
Mr. Carroll will carry her vote as well until she gets here.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Here.
Mr. Lyle. Hanover County, Mr. Davis. Ms. Dibble. Mr. Ledbetter.
Here.
Ms. Pritchard. Here. Mr. Waddell.
Here.
Henrico County, Mr. Bast.
Here.
Reverend Cooper.
Present.
Mr. Mackey. Mr. Nelson. Mr. Rogish.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt. Ms. Roundtree. New Kent County, Mr. Hathaway.
Here.
Ms. Pearson. Chair Stewart.
Here.
Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Here.
Mr. McClung. Mr. Powers.
Here.
Ms. Winnall. City of Richmond, Mr. George. Ms. Jordan. Ms. Knight.
Here.
Dr. Newville.
Here virtually.
We do have a quorum.
Awesome. And we do have two requests to participate virtually from Dr. Newville and Mr. Atkins, both for a scheduling conflict. Mr. Atkins, can you hear us and can you respond?
I'm here. I was on mute.
Gotcha. I saw your hand up, so thank you. And with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the member's request to participate from a remote location that's in conformance with the PlanRVA policy for meetings held through electronic communication means, and the voice of the remotely participating members can be heard by all persons at the primary meeting location.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry. I know the voice is better than this. Yeah, thank you though.
And I have my glasses on so I can see who everybody is. All right, well, thank you so much, Dr. Newville. Mr. Atkins, welcome officially to the meeting. We do have a couple folks online. Mr. Rhodes, who I know will be introduced later. Is there anyone else, any guests from the public online? No? And do we have any guests here today that aren't paid or volunteered to be here? So that's Ms. Hines. I know we do have Ms. Hines. She's the Executive Director of the Central Virginia Waste Management Authority, so we'll be hearing from her shortly. But welcome to the meeting. Glad to see you. Anyone else? Anyone? Is this anyone's first meeting? No? Oh, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. This will not be boring at all. All right, do we need to make an amendment to the agenda for the resolution?
Since it's on there, I think we're okay.
Does anyone have any amendments that they think should be made to the agenda? Or is everybody okay with it?
There was one small change to the minutes that I had suggested earlier. Did that get updated? There,
Yes.
I have.
Well, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Do we have any member of the public here to make a comment? Okay. We'll move on. If you need me to slow down. You're fine. All right, well, we will welcome Ms. Hines to the podium shaped table in the back. She's going to share with us a regional solid waste plan update. And it's going to be exciting because I'm a member of CVWMA as well as some of you, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love talking trash. I love talking recycling. So I'm really, really excited today that she's here to provide us this update. So Ms. Hines, take it away.
Hey, well, thank you all for having me this morning. Good morning. I share Ms. Stewart's passion for trash and recycling for sure, as I've been in it now for almost 30 years. So it wasn't my initial thought coming out of college that I would be in the waste business, but here I am, and it's been very, very rewarding. Just a little refresher about CVWMA. We are a regional government agency similar to the commission. Our footprint is a little bit larger than the 9 jurisdictions in PlanRVA. We extend down to portions of the Crater Planning District Commission and Colonial Heights, Hopewell, Petersburg, and Prince George as well. So we have a little bit of additional service area. So our service area includes 13 localities, total population of about 1.3 million, spanning 2,500 square miles. We have a 20-member board of directors that are appointed by each of your governing bodies. The number of board members is dependent on population. We are totally local government funded by our member localities with an operating assessment of 48 cents per capita that hasn't changed in 27 years. So been able to make probably can skip this slide because you all just in the very nature of what you do probably know the benefits of regional collaboration, that our services cross jurisdictional boundaries, and doing this work collectively makes more sense than going it alone. Skip over that. Some of the benefits of CVWMA, specifically what we do, regional solid waste planning. In the late 80s, the state began mandating that localities plan for where their waste was going to go and meet a minimum 25% recycling rate. So that was about when we were formed. The jurisdictions came together collectively to meet the state's mandated goals. So we develop and are the plan holder for the regional solid waste management plan. So that takes the burden off of localities from having to develop your own plan for waste. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's in that plan in a few minutes. We also gather the data and compile the annual regional recycling rate report on a regional basis so that you all also don't have to do that individually. On a daily basis, we're procuring, negotiating, and administering cost-effective regional programs for you all to participate in that best serve your citizens and your goals and objectives. So we essentially serve as an extension of your staff. A little bit about the solid waste plan, the regional plan. CVWMA is considered or has the designation of a solid waste planning unit. So Again, so this takes the burden off of individual localities for having to plan for where our waste is going to go. The plan is a 20-year rolling plan. We're required to update it every 5 years. It was last updated in 2024. So this plan goes through 2044. And you can find it on our website for reading at your pleasure. So the plan addresses things like source reduction, reuse, how we're going to meet the state's recycling goals and recycling mandate. It addresses resource recovery, incineration, and landfilling as methods of waste disposal. We estimate in the plan solid waste generation over the 20 years, and that's based on projected populations. So we work with the Cooper Center for Public Service on estimating population and growth in the region and estimating solid waste generation. And we do all of that with each of our member localities input. So we get questions a lot, and so I thought I'd throw this slide in on, kind of who does what and what the responsibilities are in regards to solid waste planning. So the planning aspect, which just talked about, is up to the CVWMA and local jurisdictions for providing that planning. The zoning and the land use for landfills or any solid waste facilities is up to the local jurisdiction where that facility would be located. So CVWMA is not making decisions based on land use or where a landfill should go or not go, those types of things. We're just planning for where our waste can go. And then with the planning side of things, any new landfill or expansion of disposal capacity or even cessation of disposal capacity is up to CVWMA, again, local jurisdictions, and you all, the planning commissions. So later on in the agenda, we do have an amendment to the plan for you all to consider, and that is just part of the planning process. We are not responsible for permitting and compliance with their state permits. So that is DEQ, and all of the landfills and solid waste facilities in our region are privately owned. There are no more publicly owned landfills in our region. So compliance and permitting is all up to private sector and DEQ. And I mentioned the annual regional recycling rate, which CVWMA is responsible for. I thought I'd show kind of what's in the plan as far as disposal capacity and what we have in this current 20-year plan. There are two types of landfills. They're called sanitary landfills or municipal solid waste landfills, where general household garbage goes into. There are also specific landfills for construction demolition debris landfills. That can only take in that type of material. They cannot take in regular municipal solid waste. So, but there are four landfills, construction demolition debris landfills within the region. We only have two sanitary or municipal solid waste landfills left in the region. There one owned by Waste Management, Charles City County, and one owned by Republic Services in Eastern Henrico County. So those are the two privately owned landfills in the region. I will say that the one in Eastern Henrico County has maybe 10 years of life left. It changes every day depending on what they're bringing in, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years left of life, unless they happen to go for an expansion. And then once that landfill closes, we are surrounded majorly by landfills owned by Waste Management. So that 93 million tons of capacity there are in landfills that are outside of our region. Some of our waste is already going outside of our region to close by landfills like in Amelia County or Sussex County on the eastern side. But those landfills are also available for use by the region in the future. We just would have to truck our waste farther away, which drives up costs in hauling. Another important thing that I wanted to note is that, again, just kind of the nature of the ownership of landfills. Majority are owned by one company, Waste Management. And so when, maybe the landfill in Eastern Henrico goes away and that percentage goes up, and lessens competition, which also could drive up costs for landfill disposal in the future. Little bit about what we need. We estimate waste generation in the region based on the EPA's estimate of 4.9 pounds per person per day that everyone that each individual generates. So we take those population estimates and estimate what the waste generation over the next 20 years. And we estimate that a little over 25 million tons of waste generated. Assuming we continue to recycle at a current rate of over 58%, that leaves us needing to find a home for over 10 million tons of waste over the next 20-year period. Just a little bit about the recycling rate. Again, we're mandated by the state to achieve a 25% recycling rate in the region, or as a solid waste planning unit. As you can see, we have far exceeded the state's mandated goal of 25%, and we actually bring the state's rate up. They're at 43%. They haven't reported yet for 2024, but our region has the highest recycling rate of any other region or regional solid waste planning unit in the Commonwealth. So I wanted to just a little bit about what goes into the recycling rate, because it is different state by state. So I get the question often about how do we compare with, other communities, in and outside of the state, and everybody calculates a recycling rate or a diversion rate differently. So it's not comparing apples to apples, Virginia to Maryland or North Carolina. So you can see there are some of the materials that go into the calculation, and it's not just paper cans and bottles, your traditional household recyclables that go into that. There is yard waste and scrap metal and some construction debris that is being recycled. Some of the and since we calculate everything in tons or by weight, some of those commodities that have more weight are driving that rate up. So whereas we might be collecting a large volume of plastics, it may not be reflected that we're reporting as much plastics as actually is being recycled. So some of the things that we are working on in the region, certainly to improve and expand recycling. We want to improve the existing programs that we have, making sure folks are recycling what should be recycled, as well as recycling as much as they can. So we are always working on that. Some bigger projects that will require a lot more is multifamily. I know you all know in your communities, you're building multifamily units are going up all the time, and trying to encourage developers to plan for recycling in those multifamily, whether they end up using it or not. At least the infrastructure would be there. Because now trying to retrofit existing facilities, especially in places like the city of Richmond, where 250-year-old city that, where these buildings have been in place for a long time, it's hard to find space for like a recycling dumpster, that sort of thing. So we're working on that. And also additional commodities, like what else can be recycled. Several years ago, we started electronics recycling, and so many materials have become more and more disposable. And, trying to figure out what we do with them. Another one is mattress recycling, we've been trying to get that going because the landfills don't even want them because that material doesn't compact. It, takes up space in the landfill. So trying to find some recycling options is again one of the things that we are working on. And mattresses, you can order them online now, and people don't know what to do with the old ones. So we're working on that. Composting, particularly food and yard waste. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And also we're exploring other waste conversion technologies. So converting non-recyclable waste into new products, so talk a little bit more about that. Oops. Again, our opportunities to expand recycling. Again, I just talked about multifamily. Developing markets for other commodities like mattresses and other items, expanding recycling to all public facilities in the region. So happy to talk to anybody about your facilities, and if you don't have recycling at public buildings, we certainly would like to maybe have some conversation about how we can help. We did just have a regional recycling event. Typically, localities are hosting their own events for their citizens for collecting different types of materials. As part of our 35th anniversary, we decided to hold a regional event. And on October 18th, we provided electronics recycling, paper shredding, and textile recycling as well. So it was pretty busy event. We had about 800 cars come through, took away 3 full big trucks of electronics, 4 tons of shredded paper, and then 3 big bins full of textiles. So pretty successful event. And the main question after that was, are you going to do this every year? So we'll see. And just talk a little bit more about food waste. This is this kind of graph came from EPA about sort of what average composition of what's in the waste stream. About a third of what is going into landfills is organic waste, food waste and yard waste combined. 20% is food waste. This is a pretty astounding percentage. So when we talk about waste diversion, this is kind of the next big thing. So just in July, we are launching a food waste collection program in Chesterfield, Henrico, and Richmond. Henrico came on board July 1. They had been piloting a program at their 2 public use areas. Chesterfield is launching next week. So we'll be able to collect food waste at their 2 convenience centers. And then in the city of Richmond had been doing a pilot program with an EPA grant that they had received a few years ago, and are collecting mostly, or just collecting fruits and vegetables. So we'll be expanding their program to beyond fruits and vegetables and meats and proteins and compostable paper products, plates, napkins, those kinds of things. So we're excited to get this launched. The carts are purple with a lime green lid, so hopefully they'll stand out to residents when they come to your facilities, and they'll want to know more. Some of these sites will also have dispensers with compostable bags so that residents can take them and fill them up and bring them back. So there'll be an incentive for for collection. We are hoping that once this gets totally up and running, that we can expand to all the other localities and as well as, again, public facilities. We've had a lot of, well, I'll say a lot, but we've had several requests from various schools in the region that want to have composting too. So we may be doing some sort of pilot program in schools coming up too. So more to come. And then we're going to talk about alternatives to landfilling non-recyclable waste. So we don't want to take away the good work of recycling, and recycling has become a big industry that contributes to the economy. But things that are being landfilled now, you know, again, just like the food waste, organic waste, things like that, we have been looking at. And there are emerging technologies out there of converting waste into a usable product, some fuels, some, you know, you've probably heard of waste to energy technology has been out there for 30 plus years. We have worked recently with a company that is they're based in their big plant is in the Netherlands, and they're trying to come into the United States, Virginia in particular. So we're hoping that comes to fruition. But they are converting waste into a thermoplastic-like product. So, and it is being used by companies in the United States for roofing materials, siding, car parts, things like that. And so we did the first ever of using that material in trash carts. So CVW May provides trash collection in Colonial Heights, Hopewell, and the town of Ashland. And then Henrico and the city of Richmond also provide trash collection to their citizens. So we partnered together to make all 3 carts with using this UBQ material. It's been tested. It's just as durable as cart made with virgin plastic. So so we were excited to announce that, and hoping that that economic development project will come to fruition in Virginia, at least, if not in our area. Again, we're just kind of focusing on the future. Kind of the old way is to you know, take products from the earth and or take materials from the earth, make it into a product, and then dispose of it in a landfill. We are looking at things on a more circular economy way of manufacturing, and maybe thinking before we manufacture on what the end of life of some of these products will be. So this is the approach of the CVW May board. Again, you know, kind of looking at our materials, and you all are familiar with the old, or well, it's not old, but reduce, reuse, recycle. That's what we've taught for years. This is an expanded version of the reduce, reuse, recycle, and focusing a lot more on those 4 levels before you get to recycling. How do we prevent our waste, repair and reuse, and things like that. And we're working to kind of promote organizations in our community that are doing some of these things. There's a new organization called Repair Cafe that is you know, that repairing goods instead of throwing it away and buying new, you know, and taking that opportunity to repair things. You know, I mentioned before, we've become so disposable. Even TVs now, like, you know, don't used to be bought a TV and it lasted for 25 years, and if it broke, you went to the TV repairman to get it fixed. And you know, so it's kind of bringing back some of that old or former way of thinking, I guess, in design and that sort of thing. So that is our mission and goal. And just some of our food for thought, you know, again, these are just kind of based on those three things, that we are constantly working on every day, maximizing our recycling efforts. If there's anything that you all need or you see in your community or you want to improve upon in your community related to recycling, please feel free to reach out. We can always try to looking for creative ways to do things. And again, I mentioned providing recycling at all public facilities and schools and things like that. That's not current in the, don't get me wrong, recycling is at many of the schools. But it would be great to have them have it at all of the schools. And then, you know, put on here both under recycling efforts and organics and composting, market development is also really important. Attracting companies that can recycle, you know, these types of materials like mattresses. There is an organization that's looking to start up a mattress recycling and finding a good location in, you know, one of your localities to kind of bring that business here that not only is economic development, but also serves a need in recycling certain types of material. We are working with Nope Composting on our organics and food waste program. They're at a point, they've grown their business so much that they're at a point of building their own facility somewhere in the region. So we're, you know, working to make those connections in some of our jurisdictions on projects like that. So that's what we're up to. We just celebrated 35 years and we're proud of our accomplishment and our future is bright.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hines.
Yep, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So what she did not mention is she is the operational powerhouse behind making sure all of the member localities have what they need when it comes to refuse collection and recycling. I learned quickly two things when I became a supervisor. People hate potholes and they don't like when the dump is full. And I learned Ms. Hines' phone number very quickly. And she's been really wonderful at being forward thinking for the member localities so that we don't have to do that. We're providing options to us that meet our needs and are based on informed recommendations. So I really appreciate that. And I would encourage you all, if you haven't, if you're a member locality and you haven't spent any time learning about what they do, come to a meeting. They are fun. We have donuts. We do.
Just let me know about more.
But I really think that, you know, this is an important part. We all, like you said, 4.9 pounds of trash a day. We're all making trash. What we do with that is everyone's problem, but we need people to think about it. So I'm grateful to their organization for thinking about it. And she also didn't mention they're very robustly active in our school system and our member localities. In New Kent last year, we did a bowling activity with kindergartners to teach them about recycling, because the idea really is that if the kids are going home and say, no, mom and dad, you put this doesn't go in the trash, this goes in the recycling, that starts, you know, the next generation of waste management. So again, would encourage you all, Dr. Newbill, I'm talking to you out there, and anybody else who is involved within their school systems, I would really encourage you all to look into that. But does anyone have any questions? I know Dr. Newbill mentioned a question before during our executive committee, so I wanted to start with you if you had any questions for Ms. Hines.
I was just asking about repurposing of landfills in terms of solar projects and what that might portend in terms of community benefit, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, there are some of those projects. Again, all the landfills in our region are privately owned. But Henrico, who closed their landfill about 10 years ago, has put solar panels on the landfill to generate power to run their operations. So there is some of that happening even in the region as well.
Go ahead, Ms. Rado.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I've got, thank you. I've got two questions, one for Ms. Hines.
Yep.
And one for the elected around the table. At what point in the review process on the local level
planning commission or board of supervisors does waste management, your company, your company get involved in the process of review of a landfill or permits and stuff like that?
So, we get involved when there is, again, under state regulations, we're required to get involved when there's any new landfill proposed or an expansion of a landfill or closure of a landfill.
Okay, at the planning commission level or the board of supervisors level?
Well, it typically would go to them first. So, and then it would come to us once it's approved at the local level.
Okay, and thank you.
Mhm.
And this question goes to the locals, I guess, local governments. Is recycling profitable? Do they get a fee for the recycled materials? Are they selling?
Yes. Yes, they are. And, again, and invite you to come to the, at least our local recycling facility to see what they do and how they separate it out. But the materials that are collected in our household programs, the paper cans and bottles are all marketed and used in manufacturing new products.
And those
And they do sell them.
and the profits, so to speak, go back to the locality that has to recycle.
So, no, it's different program by program, but like in our curbside recycling program, those revenues from the sale of recyclables go to offset the cost of processing, the cost of collection, to keep the costs low. We do give some, there are some of our programs that are solely revenue generating, like scrap metal, used oil, things like that, that we do give back to localities based on their volume. So there is some recycling money that is going back. And as a matter of fact, over our existence, we've given back over $20 million in recycling rebates back to our member localities.
Thank you.
So has anyone been to the TFC Center? Has anyone toured that? Let's see. I know Ms. Hines is willing to set up tours if we want to do that in the spring when it's nicer weather but not hot. We went when it was in August, I think. It was stinky. Ms. Pritchard?
I've recently become aware of donating for bail. If you have clothing and you take it to Goodwill, but it's not of the quality to be passed along to someone else. You can bag it up and mark it for bail.
Mhm.
And they use it, I think they sell it for manufacturing or also use it for rags. Is there any given the percentage of textiles that end up in landfills, is there any possibility that CVWMA might participate in a bail program?
Yes, we participate, like Goodwill is one of our contractors, so they will provide, bins and collection at convenience centers, kind of as a one-stop shopping. If you're going to, throw away your waste or recycle, that you can bring your textiles as well. And they would like to expand that for sure. And that's another good tour if you haven't been. Their facility over on the Midlothian Turnpike is really to see what they do. But yes, what they can't market, they do sell scrap textiles for bail, and they use those funds in their workforce development program. So which is a really neat program as well. We've also partnered with VCU in their fashion department, because there's this thing now called fast fashion. People that are buying a one-time use clothing. So there's just it has created an extremely more amount of clothing that is being discarded. So how do we prevent that and only buy what you need or buy, so.
So we had a question over here. Go ahead.
Thank you. So quick question about, a couple questions on the composting.
Mhm.
I didn't see it, maybe I just missed it, but like where where's the organic waste being taken once you collect it? Like, all right,
Oh, right.
can you talk a little bit about that? And then I think a related question is there a pathway to curbside collection? And stuff?
Good questions. So currently, again, our contractor is Nope Composting, and they are collecting it, and right now they're taking it to a company called McGill, which is in Waverly, where they are a permitted food waste and organics composter. So that's where it's going now. They would like to, they're at a point where they've got financing and they're ready to build their own facility. They're just looking for a location in the region, which will, cut down on transportation costs as well. And your second question, residential
Curbside,
collection.
yeah,
Yeah,
curbside.
yeah. So, yes, we would love to get to that point. We're kind of starting now with drop-off sites and kind of getting it going. A residential collection is certainly something that we would like to consider. There are a lot of communities around the country that have 3 cans, trash, recycling, and food waste collection. So we have to run some numbers and get some cost estimates on that, but just kind of gradually into the program.
Gotta have a market for it. So I used to live in one of those communities that had 3 cans, and the landfill one was the tiniest.
Right.
Because once you start thinking about that and you start sorting it out, the food and yard waste, and I know that we've got a lot of folks who are interested in where all the leaves are going.
Yeah,
And
right.
compost and the dirt.
Yep, agreed.
Ms. Knight, did you have a question?
I do. So mattresses. So I know you mentioned the bigger issue being mattresses, but with a lot of the new mattresses, the online and a box mattresses actually having more like recyclable and compostable material, do you foresee it being a long-term issue?
Yes, I mean, I think as mattresses are, have become more disposable, people, buying them online and maybe they're not lasting as long. That sort of thing, I do see that as a long-term issue. I mean, some of the convenience centers, and probably Hanover can speak to that, are generating a lot of mattresses, and there's only but so much that Caritas will take. They will take mattresses. So yes, I do see that and the foam and everything in the new mattresses is all recyclable, and it gets recycled back into foam.
So is that what the recycling business that you were talking about wants to do?
Yes.
They're making them so they basically grind them all up and make them into new ones? Is that what happens?
So they, they'll separate out all of the various components. There's fabric, there's foam, and in box springs, there's metal and wood and things like that. And they will market each one of those commodities, but there are companies that will buy the foam and manufacture it, whether it's back into new mattresses or another commodity or carpet backing or things like that.
Okay.
So yes.
Do we have any other questions? And if you take a look at your agenda, under C3, we're going to be requesting approval of adopting a solid waste management plan amendment. So I'm going to ask Ms. Hines just to briefly go over that now while she's at the podium, and then hopefully we can hang on to that memory when we get to section C, and we'll vote on it then.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, as part of the planning process and part of the state's planning regulations, as the solid waste planning unit, we are required to amend the regional plan anytime there is a new or expanded disposal capacity coming on board, so that we plan for it and include it in the plan. It also becomes part of the landfill's permitting process. The DEQ looks to see if they're in the regional solid waste plan before issuing the permit. So, and the process for amending the plan is the CBWMA is required to hold a public hearing, and then the CBWMA board considers it, and if approved, then it comes before you all and the Crater Planning District Commission for approval before we can submit it to the DEQ. So this amendment is Amendment 13, and it is for the Ash Cake Road landfill in Hanover County. This landfill is a construction demolition debris landfill. And so that means it only accepts CDD waste, which includes things like, you know, lumber, wire, sheetrock, brick, shingles, that sort of thing. It does not take in regular municipal solid waste or household garbage. So strictly a C&D landfill. They are proposing expanding within their current footprint, within their existing property, to construct a landfill immediately adjacent to the existing one. So it will not be going any higher in height. It's my understanding that it will just be a lateral expansion. So this will increase their capacity by 3 million cubic yards and will add an estimated 14 years of life to the landfill. So the CVWMA board held a public hearing regarding this amendment on September the 19th in Hanover County. And there was no public comment at that at the public hearing, so we didn't receive any comment that day or any written comment. And so then the CVWMA board voted to approve the amendment to the solid waste management. I am happy to answer any questions you have now, or
Does anyone have any questions?
we consider it.
Mr. Spino?
What does a yea or nay vote from this body mean?
So if you vote yay, then it will continue through the process. If you vote nay, then it will not.
Thanks.
And at this point, the locality has approved it. CVWMA has done their due diligence, and now the last two steps before it goes to DEQ are here and the Prater Planning District Commission. So that's correct.
Correct.
Mr. Hathaway?
What is the life of a landfill?
Well, right now they're out of capacity. So this expansion will give them another, it's an estimated 14 years.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Hines. Oh, sorry, Ms. Pritchard, go ahead.
It's not a question, it's a comment. It just did pass our board, but it passed on a split vote because it's adjacent to a historic landfill. And in a residential community that highly opposed it. I just want people to understand.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Just one follow-up question. Is there another construction debris landfill, or is this the only one in the region?
There's one in Chester. There are,
Construction.
yes, there are 3 others. There is one in Goochland County, the eastern part of Goochland. There are 2 in Chesterfield, western Chesterfield.
And can you characterize their capacity?
So on the slide, there was the total estimated 15 million tons of capacity of all 4 of those. So there is one in Chesterfield that has a lot of capacity and a lot of years of life. And they're a privately owned landfill that uses it for their own construction waste. Mm-hmm.
I can, so the Mr. Rhodes and Ms. Roundtree, that's right bordering Henrico, and they are coming to us, we are told, to ask for an extension probably this year or next. And that's Republic.
So we'll be back to you for that
Right,
expansion as well. Maybe.
Mr. Carroll? Yeah.
Sure, we'll be at our meeting again.
Certainly, my thoughts are if the localities or whose jurisdiction this is touching wants to do the expansion, that's up to them. I would tell you I have 2 of these landfills, the construction landfills in my district. They're terrible. Plain up, terrible. They stink. I get complaints all the time. on a monthly basis about the smell coming out and their construction material landfills. A lot of it has to do with sheetrock. When sheetrock gets wet, it smells like rotten egg. And I can't even sit here and tell you how many complaints I get and how many complaints we get, to the point where if I could shut them down, I would. And that's just a fact, because the people who live around these things have to deal with the smell. So much so when cars driving down Hull Street, if they have their vents open and they go by the Skin Quarter landfill, it hits their vents, and then they dial the number and say, it's terrible out here. And we've even put them on the odor control plan. So, kind of guess how I feel about it.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Carroll. Anyone else? All right, remember all of this. We're gonna talk about a few other things, and then we're gonna come back to the decision-making point of the agenda. Thank you, Ms. Hines.
Thank you all.
All right.
Sure.
Next up, we're gonna invite Dr. Saren Adhikari to come up. And he is going to give us a highlight on the regional pulse. It's a highlight from our regional data hub. And while he's coming up, I will mention to you, in our waste reduction efforts, Ms. Schickel joined the forward thinking train of reducing the amount of paper and printing that we do. So if you'll notice, your packet is a little bit smaller than it has been in the past. That's because included in your packet is a QR code and a hyperlink to view all the attachments, either before you come or print them out on your own. If you need them, we do have a hard copy here, but this is just a waste reduction and cost saving effort. So if anyone really hates this, you can let me know, but I think this is the way we'll proceed from here, at least until June.
Madam Chair?
Sure.
I actually think that's a great idea, and I will share with you what they've done at the Airport Commission. They've actually now given us little iPads for each one, and everything is actually on there. So there's no paper printed at all at any of our meetings anymore. And you just get in there, you click on it, and you follow everything right there. And then they email us the agendas. So there's no paperwork that is generated. And if there's any addendums or anything like that, they're actually on the iPad. They work out really good. Just food for thought.
Thank you. If there's anyone, that this just really doesn't work for and you need a paper copy, please let Ms. Schickel or myself know, and we would be happy to accommodate, but like I said, really want to be conscious of the waste we're producing, the cost that it takes to print these. And as I told Ms. Schickel, I drive these up and down 5,000 miles before I throw them in the trash. And I don't think anybody else wants to join me in doing that. If you do, let me know. But with that, we will move on to Saren. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commission members. I'd like to take a moment to share an update from one of our recent data initiatives, the Near Miss Dashboard. For many years, our organization has relied on crash data to inform our long-range planning and safety analysis. While that data is still very useful, it only includes incidents that are reported. Crashes that are officially reported. But as we know, there are many situations on our roadways that don't necessarily end up in a crash. But then there are sudden stops or close calls or near saves or near miss, however you want to call it. These events are equally important to understand if we want to improve our roadway safety and prevent future crashes. The Near Miss Dashboard helps fill that gap. It collects community submitted reports of these near crash, near miss incidents, and it maps it in real time and helps us identify patterns and hotspots before they escalate into serious incidents. It's an example of how we're using local insights and crowdsourced data to strengthen our regional safety planning. Elizabeth Greenwell from our data team created this Near Miss Dashboard, and I would now invite her to share a brief presentation with the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Saren, for the introduction. I'm Elizabeth. I'm really excited to introduce everyone to our Near Miss Dashboard, which is like a public engagement tool / data dashboard. So Soren gave a great introduction. I'm gonna go in a little more depth on everything. What is a near miss? The data we want to collect on this site are what we're calling near miss events, which is a term commonly used in occupational safety. In general, in occupational safety, the reporting of near miss events is very common, and it's becoming a popular idea in active transportation. A near miss or close call can be any event that does not result in injury, but could have. We're going to be a bit flexible with our definition and allow or encourage into the survey events where there was an injury or collision. This is an attempt to be broad and scoped to capture any event really that would go unreported to the police. So what are those? We're talking about instances where you're traveling in the bike lane and debris makes you swerve, times where you have poor visibility, where there's not enough time at the intersection to cross the street. There's lots of things that are behavioral or part of the infrastructure that contribute to a near miss event. The survey currently has options that I believe best reflect a breadth of experiences, but also let us find connections and trends between events. There's so much to get out of this information from a safety and planning perspective. A big thing that we want to come out of this is locality level reports on events, the trends we're seeing and what may be potential areas for projects. So mapping these with what active transportation infrastructure already exists, what the speed limits are on roadways, and that VDOT data help us better understand what is contributing to collisions that do occur so we can work in a preventative manner. And lastly, a big goal for me is to combine this data with active transportation count data, pedestrian bike count data, to get an accurate picture of risk by segment in the region. The site is designed to be simple and intuitive to use. You pretty much just place a pin where the event occurred. The form captures that location and asks users about the event. Time and date is captured and allows a short description to be added. The dashboard page is where users can scroll around and see what other events are going on. So the site is set up to be user-friendly on desktop and mobile. Other buttons on the map let you allow the site to find your location for you. You can also erase and redo a pin. Didn't get the right location the first time. There's checkboxes for common behaviors, your travel mode, and infrastructure issues. There's also an about page giving the public a definition of near miss and some helpful language like that submissions are fully anonymous. A submission is not the same as properly reporting an accident, and that submissions are not proof of an incident for like an insurance claim or anything like that. The excitement and engagement the site has already gotten has been amazing. It's been so amazing that we need more storage space for the data collected. We unveiled to our partners and to the public like officially in March, and we've had over 200 responses. And so we need to move to a space that's going to allow us to accumulate multiple years worth of data. The dashboard page is also going to undergo an update to add the user's descriptions of the event or any other anecdotal data to the pop-up on the map and report back to the public some of the statistics from the survey. That is in progress, and we hope to get Near Miss 2.0 ready for rollout soon. The dashboard is rapidly gaining interest from the community, and people are really excited about having a space to have their experience seen and heard. The site has been shared as an example of what is technically possible with open source tools to others in the GIS profession. It has been accepted as a presentation topic to the Geospatial Mid-Atlantic User Group Spring Meeting and the Women in GIS Speaker Series. It has been recognized by the National Association of Development Organizations as an impactful technology and data project. And local reporter Ian Stewart dedicated an episode of his podcast to the Near Miss Project and wrote an article on it for the Virginia Mercury. All this show there's big potential here. We're tapping into a space where people want to give their feedback into. As much as near miss data gathering is a survey, it really is a space for those who are traveling and using active transportation are feeling like they can have a record of their experience. Additionally, I'm happy to share with you that we have been contacted by High Street Consulting as they are working on a TRB research project on community-centered transportation metrics. The researchers are focusing on how different organizations can incorporate qualitative or non-traditional data into transportation planning. They have interviewed a few organizations that have made a near miss dashboard. This is a novel area of research. Those who operated near miss dashboard is really just us, Nova Families for Safe Streets, and a larger group at UC Berkeley. So part of their research is creating guidance and a case study on using this type of data and considering how localities might go about capturing attitudes or the feelings people have about safety affect travel mode choice and behavior. So I'm very excited to be included in their conversations and hopefully they continue to be mutually beneficial. And I'll leave the rest of the time for questions anybody might have. And I'm happy to share my contact here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start you off with a question. I'll go to you, Mark. Is this available for all the localities to participate in?
Yes, so the map doesn't have any restrictions of where people can zoom around and place.
And do you have an option for a wildlife encounter?
That is a great addition.
Because for my locality,
Yes.
probably Goochland, Powhatan, that's my near misses are deer.
Okay.
So I would consider that because I think that informs a lot of how we move about our lives. And
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question about verification. How do you verify when folks put this information in that was indeed near miss?
It's fully anonymous and we just are trusting the public like any other survey we put out there. Trusting that we're getting genuine feedback into it.
any other? Go ahead.
So the only thing I would be cautioned and interested in is the timing of such information that's put in. I give you an example. I have a zoning case in my district right now that there are probably 800 signatures on a petition against a particular zoning proposal. And then their argument they're trying to make is that it's going to put too many cars on the road and it's going to create a hazardous traffic condition. You know, one of the things that you can use to justify denying a zoning case is in fact public safety information that you could turn around and make an argument that if you pass something like this, it's going to create a dangerous situation on the road. So it is a legitimate argument to make to not pass a zoning case. And so you have to consult with VDOT and CDOT and many other public safety, fire, police, sheriff, that kind of stuff. But not having an ability to verify whether or not the encounters that are actually being put in are true or not, to me as a former police officer is suspect. And so I would caution that sometimes you're going to have to look at the timing of when the incidents are put in. We have a lot of deer in my district, and I've actually had maps done
I know I've been out your way. So I know
through the county showing where all the deer crashes are. I actually have them. It's pretty amazing. But there are people who will try to manipulate this to make an argument for themselves about a particular zoning case, just as an example. That's the one that comes to mind to me, because that's the argument that everybody makes. We don't have school capacity and the roads are going to be too dangerous because of this. And so just, I would keep in mind when you're looking at data and all of a sudden you see a data set come in one particular part of an area in a short period of time, you may have to look at other things that are going on, consult with the locality to say, was there something else going on around that time that could have sparked a data set like this to come up? Because like I said, I've got a case that hasn't even been before the planning commission right now with 800 signatures against a particular zoning case that's coming forward. And the argument that's being made is exactly that. The roads are too dangerous, they're too windy, people go too fast, too many cars, all of that. And this would be if I was on their side of the fence saying I want to kill something, that I would get everybody on that 800 petition to go, you need to go on there and tell them how dangerous it is. And every time you've almost gotten the crash, even if it hasn't happened. So it's just, there is what Mark brought up is legitimate, that there could be false data that's being put in for a specific reason.
And where I would be interested is if we have a match where we didn't have a near miss and we had VDOT or the police going through and verifying that something happened. And then with that, we have a large number of near misses. Well, that would be interesting to me. But if we had just the near misses, but nothing that actually occurred, that would be harder for me to make that leap. So that's why I was asking that question. And you picked up on it.
Do we have two questions? You want to start, Mr. Powers?
Yeah. What relationship are you having with VDOT in terms of feeding the information over time that you're collecting so they can build that into their deliberations on widening or trenching or whatever else to improve safety?
I don't have a relationship with VDOT at this time. I haven't been in conversation with them, but that is something that the research that I'm participating in is interested in. What is our relationship with VDOT, and do they view this as a useful metric as well for the planning process?
Mr. Waddell?
Following up on Mr. Carroll's concerns, I just had a thought. Could y'all put, or with the VDOT, put a QR code on a road sign for potential hotspots and where it comes from? I'm on a T intersection and I have seen a number of near misses, and I need to do some follow up on that. And if folks would see that QR sign and remember that yesterday they saw one, I could almost justify a roundabout in my location. 10 years ago when they widened some turn lanes, I asked for a roundabout. And I agree with Chair Stewart's suggestion for animals. I got my first buck of the season this a couple of weeks ago. Didn't do half as much damage to my truck as I thought it would. So I would prefer
Congratulations and condolences.
Would this also include traffic law violations on my road? I see at rush hour, especially folks passing on a solid yellow line on my straightaway. Would that include traffic violations?
It wouldn't be for that specifically. It's really focused on those that are at risk in active transportation.
Okay, thank you.
I think clearly there's an interest in the data that's being collected, how it's being collected, and what is being collected. So I think maybe Ms. Schickel and I can talk about after this, having an update at a following meeting about where we're at. Because I think you all are collecting some good data, and I think you've got some good feedback from the room here. And it'll just be interesting to monitor the progress as this goes along and see how it can be useful. Anybody else before we let her leave the podium? All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will invite up Holly Gordon next, our Senior Community Engagement Manager for the Community Voice section.
Hi, everyone. Welcome again. Welcome back. I was here last month giving you an update about engagement, and I'm here to give you a short update again to let you know what we've been doing, what we're excited about, and the progress we've made. There. So one of the things you asked for in the past was, how can I have some resources to share about the things that you're talking about? Do you have simple language? Do you have images that we can share with our constituents? We can share with our public information officers? And the answer is yes. So every plan that we have on our Engage page has a toolkit. And so that arrow is pointing you to, often it's in a separate tab where there are sample copy that you can download, that you can literally copy and paste and customize an email to a friend, or if there are images for various social medias or flyers that you would like to hang. So all of that is available to you and also to the public every single time we do a plan. We also have been doing them a simple text and a simple image in Spanish. Our Engage site is translatable into 10 common languages, but it cannot translate a image on a page, right? So we're trying to do some of our own translation as possible. And of course, you're always welcome to share and encourage people to follow these projects. When you follow a project, it gives you an update on what's happening. Thank you to all of you who have been already sharing. We appreciate all of that. It really does help. So this is where we are with the plans that I talked to you about last time. We are incorporating public input from the final plan draft on 2 plans, the SEDS, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which you'll hear an update later, and the Air Quality Plan. And our Natural Resources Plan we've been working on throughout the year. The next steps will be asking the public to prioritize some of the particular features of that plan, and that will be between December and January. So that'll be the next active thing we'd love for you to share about. And then after that, we will revisit the next phase, our next big phase of our public engagement plan for the long range transportation. So the universe of projects will actually be shared for open comment in December, which is what are all of the possible projects that we could do for this. And then we will be going back out into the public from January to March to revisit the first set of communities that we did engagement with last year. When we asked them, what would you like to see? What do you need? Now we're going to say, now that we have some projects, how would you prioritize funding and choosing these? We don't have unlimited time and money. So how would you like us to work to do that? So lots of things coming up that we would love for your help in helping us promote. We did want to share with you a little bit of where we've been, and I know this is a little bit hard to see on the big screen. Some of these are a little bit easier. This is just the last 2 months to give you an idea of where we've been going. And so these are our engagement opportunities. So they're either events that we have seen and wanted to show up to, places we were invited, or communities we were trying to target. And so the program area is the first colored column. PlanRVA is in purple, which is just general. Red is transportation, green is environment, yellow is community development. And then the locality column to the next is this benefiting a specific locality? We found that actually most of the time where we're going, it's regional, right? Even if it is located in the city of Richmond, the audience is regional. But sometimes we're going specifically to a locality, like indicated for New Kent, there was a specific meeting with one of our Community Transportation Advisory Committee members. And then on the right-hand side is how many people we engaged. In the last 2 months, we've engaged over 750 people. So that's pretty cool with just 2 months. And then the next step, the next places we've been, we're not only just going for engagement, sometimes we're just out as professionals, right? We are going to conferences, we are learning, we are connecting, we are convening people. So these are some of the places where we've either presented, been, or learned. And so same kind of thing, what program area is it affecting and what locality is it in? You'll see that gray color is a lot of national. And I just want to take this chance to brag on our staff a little bit. Sometimes our staff is shy about sharing the accomplishments they have, but I'm going to share with you that Elizabeth mentioned presenting at NATO, which is our national professional organization, also winning an award for that. This is a state award for the Virginia Association for Mapping and Land Information Systems. This is second place for best geographic analysis, and that was for a story map for that natural resources plan that I said is coming up, that the data environmental teams worked on. And so these are the kind of things that are happening. We have so many smart people, and I'm so proud of the work that we're doing, and we don't always get a chance to talk about it. So I just wanted to brag on them a little bit. Two more things before I close. One is we want to give you an update that our committees and boards, of course, are also ambassadors for engagement. We've already spoken to the chair of the Public Outreach Committee of our commission about how we might use that committee a little more strategically. So we're working behind the scenes to prepare a working session for those members in January to mobilize that committee a little more strategically. We're going to assess their strengths, what has worked before, and how we can plan a little bit better for them to support our engagement. And of course, we have ongoing work with our Community Transportation Advisory Committee that's on the TPO side all year long. And then I want to leave you with a request for how you might be able to help. So your role is also important, right? You all are ambassadors. So that list of engagements that I just showed you, what was missing? Who are the communities that you all care about? Who should we be talking to that you maybe haven't seen us show up for? Are there specific communities in your regions that you would love us to be present for? Email me, let us know. We obviously only showed you the last 2 months, so that is not comprehensive. But if you can help us make a warm introduction, that helps spread the word. Getting to know us helps spread that along besides just me and just our staff. It's all of you as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Holly, and congratulations on that award. That's very exciting. Any questions for Holly? Any comments, concerns? Does anyone need a 5-minute break before we move on to our next section, or do we want to power through? Power through? Got it. So if I've been sipping my water, not gulping it, so. All right, we're gonna move on to section C. For my chair report, happy to see you all. I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Schickel to talk about the consent agenda and the items that are on there.
Okay, I think everybody's fairly familiar with the concept of the consent agenda, but these are either routine items that typically don't require a lot of conversation. So items A and B there are our minutes and our financial statements. Financial statements are provided for information. They were reviewed by our finance committee when they met last week. The intergovernmental and environmental reviews are the record of activity that the staff have done according to state code for those requests that come in for review. Typically, when we get those in, Eli on our staff pushes that out to local government contacts to be able to review and offer comment as appropriate from the local perspective. We're essentially a clearinghouse for that process. The succession management plan was an action recommended by the executive committee that reviewed the updates to that succession management plan in September, and is forwarded to you for adoption and was included with the staff report and referenced in the packet. And then finally, the Title VI plan is an update to that document as well. It was reviewed and adopted by the TPO policy board in October. So all of those, again, are from staff perspective are considered to be administrative items that are forwarded to you as a block for the consent agenda. Certainly, if the board wishes to discuss any one of those items, one or more of those items separately, we can adjust the consent agenda and take them individually, but they're presented as a block. And staff is requesting action to approve all 5 items on the consent agenda today.
Does anyone have any questions on any of the items on the consent agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as a block.
Moved.
Is that Ms. Schneider and Mr. Donati second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, motion passes. All right, now to the most fun part of the decision items. We are going to go back in our memory to the solid waste management plan amendments.
Thank you. So I think Ms. Hines did a great job of providing the background and the information with regard to the subject resolution. So I think we're both happy to sort of answer mine procedurally, her content. If you have any questions on this item. The request is to consider approval of the resolution adopting the solid waste management plan amendment.
Does anyone have any questions? Comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution adopting the solid waste management plan amendment.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Anyone second it?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Spoonhour. All in favor? Actually, do we need a roll call vote on this one?
You can do a voice vote unless there's a need to do a roll call.
Okay. All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed?
No.
No.
The 2 no's.
The motion passes. Next, we will move on to the comprehensive economic development strategy. Ms. Cook.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commission members. We are pleased to be before you again this month to talk about the Regional Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or SEDS, which is the agency's Pathways to the Future Economic Development Plan. As you may recall, at your September meeting, Barbara Jaycox and I shared with you an overview of the SEDS plan, including how the SEDS relates to the Regional Strategic Plan, the plan update process, which included locality, staff, and key stakeholder guidance, and 2 rounds of community engagement.
the main component sections of the plan, and a view of the plan's 6 goals, under which sets of strategies and actions are grouped, and for each of which a set of performance measures are included to help us monitor progress. After the September meeting, in response to your questions, we followed up with information via email. In response to a question about what the plan identified as regional challenges, we included the plan's strengths and opportunities for growth or improvement section, a list which helped inform the goals and overall action plan, and which contains many topics which are likely familiar from ongoing local and regional conversations, including coordinated workforce development efforts, attainable housing, and maintaining and upgrading infrastructure. In response to a question about childcare data, which is one of the focuses of SEDS goal number 1, we provided childcare and early childcare education resource links. In addition, between the September meeting and today, the plan was posted for a 30-day public comment period. There is a link in the staff report for the comments received. For today's meeting, a staff report, the full plan document, and the plan's 4 appendices have been linked in the packet. As indicated in the staff report, today staff requests adoption of the Pathways to the Future Economic Development Plan and incorporation of this core functional area plan into the Regional Strategic Plan adopted June 12, 2025. Thank you for your consideration, and staff would be happy to answer any questions at this time. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Cook? And you all will note you have a paper, does everyone have a paper copy of the resolution, of a resolution that's not included in your packet. So this will be in addition to the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy approval. So I'll entertain a motion to approve that strategy and the accompanying resolution.
So moved.
Is that Ms. Pritchard? Second. And second, was that Dr. Hathaway? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Cook.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure. I don't know if I have the answer, but
Does this come with any associated costs to it? Like, is there gonna be a subsequent budget request to support these efforts or?
No, the development of the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy was funded through a planning grant awarded from USEDA. And the idea is that this supports future applications to USEDA. And so in order to be eligible for funding through that federal agency, the project would need, or the project would need to be consistent with the SEDS. So it's intended to be a gateway to funding opportunities.
Thank you.
any other questions or comments before we move on? I'll invite Ms. Shepherd, our CFO, up to discuss the audited financial statements for June 30, 2025.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm happy to give the report. Mr. Davis, I know you had some talking points you wanted to share.
I did, ma'am. Thank you. And I'll be brief.
All right.
All right, come on up, Lauren. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the authority. Thank you for having us with you this morning. As Chair of the Finance, we went over the audit that was presented. I just want to go over a few topics. Where are you, Lauren? Come up here. Because Lauren did all the hard work. And I believe Mr. Rhodes is online. Mr. Rhodes.
I am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rhodes. So first and foremost, PlanRVA received a clean, unmodified opinion for FY 2025 audit. There are no financial statements or federal award findings identified. The committee is pleased to present these results of the audit to the full authority. The committee met with Mr. Rhodes last week, Mr. Spoonhour, Dr. Newbill, myself, along with Lauren and Ms. Schickel. And as is customary in some of our localities, staff left the room. We had an opportunity to talk to the auditor, asking questions about document submission, working with the auditors, their ability to receive information without delay, and all of that was found to be completely in compliance and commendatory of the organization. Mr. Rhodes is available by Zoom. if anybody has any questions, I just want to thank Ms. Shepherd and the Finance Committee, the leadership team there in the Finance Committee for all of their hard work in getting this done. And obviously, it's been presented before the end of the year. So Ms. Shepherd, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't have any formal reports. As Mr. Davis said, we gave a full detailed review of the audit with the committee, so I'm here happy to answer any questions both during the meeting or after.
Does anyone have any questions?
Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to say it's outstanding work to get an unmodified audit like that.
Thank you, Kevin.
Knowing the amount of transactions and work that goes into it that staff has to do. And not just for PlanRVA, but also supporting the things that they do through the CBTA as well. I just think it's outstanding. I just want to say thank you to staff for all the hard work. I think it's great.
Thank you. We have a really incredible team. I have to give a shout out to the finance and admin team here at PlanRVA. So if you see them, please thank them as well.
Any other questions or comments?
Would Mr. Carroll like to say anything commendatory towards me, such as?
You're awesome, man.
Thank you.
You were very short. That was good.
I want to echo those comments on staff. It is always so very important. Ms. Dibble and I, she chairs our finance committee back home, and it is so important to be able to have candid conversations with the auditors, and the feedback that they give is very important. And when they tell you that the organization opens its books, they provide the support without ancillary information, that they're timely, that they're responsive, that means a lot. It means a great deal. And that was in a closed session meeting where we had those conversations. And I think that speaks to the organization and the folks that are back here when this board's not convened. So I certainly want to echo those comments and thank staff for their responsiveness to our auditors.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and thank you for being willing to chair the finance committee so fearlessly and passionately. We appreciate your efforts. And with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the audited financial statements and authorize staff to submit to the Virginia Auditor of Public Accounts and the Federal Clearinghouse and funders upon request.
So move, ma'am.
Second. Ms. Schneider or Dr. Newbeck, make your choice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. All right, now we're on to an even more exciting part of the agenda where we're going to talk about why we're here and then give one of our localities a chance to share about what's going on with that. So with them and how we all can play a part in that. So Ms. Schickel, I'll turn it over to you for a mission moment.
Thanks. I wanted to keep the theme going of talking trash this morning. I know Kim wasn't able to stay, but I know several of you serve on that board and really do have a great understanding of the tremendous contributions that she's made. I'll echo Chair Stewart's comments. She's way too humble. She has celebrated more than 20 years at the helm at CBWMA, and it's just really.
It's our 30th year this year. We're celebrating her.
Yeah, so she was on the agency, right, and as the chief finance person, and then took over as the executive director. And they were formed in 1990, and maybe some of you are not as familiar with CBWMA's history. It was actually formed through conversations that happened with Richmond Regional Planning District Commission members. So in the late 1980s, there were conversations among local elected officials who said we really need to think regionally about solid waste collection and recycling. How do we do that? And the formation of CBWMA and the early years of operations, actually, they were co-located with PlanRVA. And so that part preceded my time here, but I think it's a really great story of how many times over since then, certainly this group of leaders have come together and said, we have this problem that we need to solve and we could solve that together. And I think it's just a really great testament 35 years later, as they celebrate that 35th anniversary of what that kind of cooperation can do. And the organization has certainly evolved over time. They spun out, if you will, and became their own independently operating organization. We made real estate decisions separate from one another. They still are on Laburnum Avenue. We have moved twice since then, but the partnership has still remained. And so just this morning, I shared with the executive committee, I signed yesterday a contract for funding. We're the sub-recipient of an EPA Region 3 Thriving Communities grant making program. Their recipient is the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative. So it's federal grant awarded to syndicator, if you will, that then makes subrecipient awards to organizations like ours. And we're partnering up with CVWMA for about $150,000 grant that's really designed to be able to promote public awareness of opportunities to eliminate waste into that waste stream, to leverage our Adult Trash Central Virginia program for litter elimination. And it's just a really exciting way to be able to leverage this funding opportunity. We'll pass through some of the award to CVWMA. We'll leverage our staff time and be able to work together to be able to get the word out about some of those programs that she talked about this morning. I think the other really cool part about that project and why we do it is not just because we like Kim and her team and she's got really great board members, but it's also because that strategy ties up not only to Richmond Region tourism strategy for promoting a green destination here in the Richmond region, but it also promotes the GRP's recently adopted economic development strategy, specifically where they have advanced manufacturing as a target industry and clean tech as an opportunity. So that entire deal that Kim talked about this morning with the circular economy is very much aligned with our other regional partners and how we think about working together to move these initiatives forward. So it was timely that that contract came through and I was able to sign the agreement yesterday and that Kim was going to be here today, but also knowing that you sit in other tables and places and spaces in the region. This is a team effort and working with our other regional partners to make sure that programs like this really kind of hit the ground in a way that's consistent with the strategy for the region. So
Thank you, Ms. Schickel. Now that we're feeling good about ourselves, we know why we're here. Let's invite Hanover to give us their, Mr. Davis again, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. Here we go. Well, good morning. I know we're at the last agenda item and thank you all. Madam Chair, thank you for these member spotlights. I think it's great to do those and I appreciate this opportunity. I'm joined today by Ms. Dibble, Ms. Pritchard, Mr. Waddell, and Mr. Ledbetter, all from Hanover County. We thought we would do a joint presentation and we are going to narrow it down to about 30 to 45 minutes from our original plan. But good morning.
You can be here as long as you want.
Yeah, that's right. I'll continue to speak if you move on with your day. I know Mr. Rogish will stay. It's been another remarkable year for Hanover County, filled with many major accomplishments, exciting projects, and well-deserved recognitions across all of our departments. There we go. Hanover's award-winning services this year span multiple departments. The county received 2 VACO awards, one for our annual Centurion celebration honoring our residents of 100 years or older. Always a wonderful event. Board members attend and it's very special. And also our Engage Hanover Community Portal, which helps residents stay informed and involved with local government. Additional awards are Public Utilities and Public Works received awards for their excellent services to our residents, and we're very thankful for them, as well as our Human Resources Department, which was recognized by 2 different organizations. Once again, our finance department is among the top 1% of counties nationwide to receive the prestigious AAA rating from 3 major credit rating agencies. Only 56 counties in the US share that distinction. At this point, I want to ask Mr. Ledbetter if he'll come up. Additionally, Mr. Ledbetter has some personal information, not part of this presentation, that he wants to present, I think, at the end of the presentation for some things. It was on energy. And so we're happy to have him do that afterwards. But Mr. Larry Ledbetter has served on the Planning Commission, I guess, 14 years now, right, Mr. Ledbetter? Correct. Yeah, so we're happy to have him. And obviously, he's a member of this authority. Mr. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Moving forward, slide 4. Hanover's capital improvement projects this year include the completion of Fire Station 17, groundbreakings at 2 elementary schools, and numerous park and road improvements across the county. Renovations were also completed at our animal shelter, including vibrant upgrades to the dog and cat adoption rooms and 25 new kennel runs. In 2026, public safety will see several additional capital projects, including construction of a replacement station in Doswell and new Station 8 fire stations in Montpelier. Looking ahead, construction on a new public safety building at the government complex is expected to begin in early 2027. On the education front, Beaver Dam and Battlefield Elementary Schools are scheduled to open for the 26 and 27 school years. Construction will also begin on a new Washington Henry Elementary School in Mechanicsville in 26, and plans are in place for a campus-style elementary school at fiscal year 29. And I believe Ms. Pritchett's time has arrived. Thank you.
In a second, when you see, I think slide 8, you'll understand why I got to do this particular part of our presentation. We have made significant investments in our parks. At Pole Green and Poor Farm Parks, playgrounds were completely revamped with safer, more accessible equipment and fresh designs. Other upgrades include paved parking lots, new ball field fencing, football goalposts and scoreboards, and Wickham Field and Montpelier is expected to open in the spring of 2026. We installed automated electronic defibrillators in all Hanover parks, which I think is a major significant. We go on the next slide, Mr. Davis. All right. If you will note the little Lilliputian person right behind Mr. Davis and next to our chair, the little head, yeah, in what has now become an infamous photograph, that's me. In September, Hanover County joined VDOT, my friends in the town of Ashland and Henrico County in celebrating the opening of the first section of the Fall Line Trail. The new 4.8 mile segment connects the Ashland Trolley Line Trail through Hanover County to Woodman Road in Henrico County, marking the completion of the trail's first regional segment. When finished, the Fall Line Trail will span 43 miles in 7 localities. And I'll be walking all of it right behind Mr. David.
I think I've got the most fun part. That was the long and this is the long and short of it. Slide 9, please. Road improvements. Hanover currently has $193 million in road improvement projects, including 6 future roundabouts. Excuse me. Construction on the Lewistown Ash Cake Road roundabout is expected to begin in late 2026. The Route 301/Route 54 roundabout project is expected to move from the design phase to right-of-way acquisition period early next year. Slide 10, please. VDOT's Richmond District, recently honored Hanover Public Works for 2 projects. Best Bike Pedestrian Project at the Cool Spring Elementary School's Extension Project, which connected neighborhoods to the school with new sidewalks, crosswalks, and pedestrian safety improvements. The Best Work Zone Management Project, the Route 360 Lee Davis, widening project completed last spring, was honored for its exceptional work zone management practices. As a substitute teacher on occasion, I go through that intersection, especially at rush hour when the high schoolers are coming in. It works well. Thank you.
Oh, next slide. Master plans. We currently have a couple master plans that are being updated at this time. The Hanover County Municipal Airport's 20-year master plan is in the process of being updated, and we anticipate completion on that in January. And we are also nearing completion of our Parks and Rec 2035 master plan, hopefully by the end of this year. We have also started an endeavor to look at some small area plans throughout the county. And the first one that we have completed was the Route 33 Gateway Plan. The next one will be the Route 1 Gateway Plan. These are the last 2 gateways into Hanover County. We are a rural county out on Route 33, and one of the main objectives is to create some design standards that will protect that view shed along 33. And on both of these small area plans, we finished 33 and we just began Route 1. Most important aspect of this is the community input.
And we've had good success so far in getting our community out and sharing their thoughts and ideas. We will also be doing in 2026 a Route 30 corridor study, which is near the King's Dominion entrance, as well as Mechanicsville Village, which will be more of a revitalization type of a small area plan. Next up is major upcoming events, which I will call the grand finale. And soon we're going to be on the national stage as we host the Corn Ferry Tournament Championship, which is the season-ending championship for the PGA Tour Developmental Circuit. And we'll be hosting that in my beautiful South Anna district at the Federal Club, and you should get this on your schedule for next October. The tour is going to be broadcast on live television on the Golf Channel. And it's going to be drawing, they say 2,000 to 3,000 visitors a day. So we're real excited about this and excited for our localities and our regional partners and bringing the business, hotels and restaurants and nonprofits. So a lot going on in Hanover, and Mr. Davis will close it out.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you very much for having this member spotlight. We certainly appreciate it. And thank you all for your support in many of the regional matters. Some of the things you see on the slide, certainly a regional participation. You can tell by the pictures, which regional participation means things come to fruition a lot easier. And delivering for our joint constituency is important. So thank you all for having us here today. That concludes our presentation. I think Mr. Ledbetter had something that he wanted to talk about for a few seconds briefly, and then we'll be done. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I run into one of my neighbors a couple of weeks ago, and we were discussing everybody's got a data center coming next new to them in the future. So he works for a company that's actually located down on Canal Street here. They do studies and reports on different topics. And the name of the company is VASEM. And they've done a recent one, and it's called, one of them's called White Paper on Technologies for Powering Virginia's Data Centers. Very good report. And I'm gonna leave a copy of this up here for people to get. It has their website on it. The other one they have is good to read, is an introduction to artificial intelligence. Both of these are all true factual reports. And there's a lot of misconception out there when you talk to people about data centers. This would be good information for everybody to have. I'm gonna leave this up here if everybody wants to get a copy of it, take a picture of it, put it on your phone or the website. I think it'd be very helpful to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. And thank you, Team Hanover. That was an excellent spotlight. Really appreciated how much thought, effort, and time went into it. It's, I think, a very, you did what we wanted you to do with the member spotlight. So thank you. Does any locality want to volunteer to go next? I know they set the bar really high for that. Would anyone? Yeah, you have plenty of time to pick. Sounds like Enrico wants to go next. Thank you so much. We look forward to that in February.
Just got voluntold.
I think we did, yeah, so I'll nominate Ms. Roundtree to lead that. Excellent idea. I will assist you.
We look forward to it. Just number 3 in this section is just the external engagement partnership. Case you've just got page 33 in your packet is the CVTA update. We won't read it. You all can read it at your leisure. Just want to make sure you know it's included. With that, our next meeting is December 4th here at 9:30. That's going to be our joint meeting with RRTPO and CVTA. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Rogish, and I met, and with the help of Ms. Schickel and Mr. Parsons, developed a very exhilarating agenda. So please make sure this is on your schedule. It's going to be great. And we look forward to having you all here. Does anybody have anything before we go? No? Well, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I appreciate your time and attendance and attention. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
All right, all in favor, please.